Good morning. You know when everybody's ready? I appreciate everybody joining us today. Today is a very exciting day for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. Speaking today is our Chief Kerr Putney, who is going to be providing an update on our use of force policy. This time, without further ado, I'll turn it over to the Chief. Chief?
Good morning. Good morning. This is not my idea. They did that on their own. I really don't know what that's about. But good morning. This is a big day for us here at Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department and as a city as a whole. It really is. I'm humbled by the work our officers and supervisors did to draft a new policy. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the community impact also. A lot of insight, a lot of perspective from people that I think it would be the first time we've really allowed for this level, this depth of perspective and insight. People who generally, how are you, sir? Are constantly debating me. Good to see you. And I think that makes this policy even better. I'll tell you this policy is a living, breathing document. This is not a one-shot deal. I wish I could tell you we got it perfect this time. I'm sure we did not. But I can tell you this, it's better than where we started. And none of that could have been done without people like some of you in the room who contributed. Our officers and supervisors drafted it. These people behind me, I think, made it even better, enhanced it. But the community contributed and gave perspective that we couldn't have had otherwise, and I really appreciate that. So we did seek the perspective of a lot of stakeholders. The Citizens Review Board, we debated. Ms. Jamison, good to see you. We debated a lot. You guys gave us a deep appreciation for what you wanted to see, improvements you expected. We talked about things like guardianship, and we wanted to really talk about the sanctity of life. I think consistently we heard that from everybody who talked to us. Our external advisory council, we've been working since I got here on work that led to this point. Humbled by that and appreciative of it. NAACP weighed in. They were questioning around reasonableness, and that really made us step back and think too. So I'll talk more about that a little later, but reasonableness was huge and really making that matter to people and people better understand what that looked like, a deeper understanding of how that is applied. Safe Coalition in C. Mr. Dawkins, as always, I appreciate your work. It never ends, but I respect that. I like that passion. And External Advisory Group, I appreciate it, sir. All of that good work. You guys have been consistent through some tough times. I really appreciate that. You guys never hold punches. I respect that. I also appreciate you letting me punch back sometimes, because the debates is what got us here too. This is a pivotal day. Community members and officers deserved an updated policy. We talk about reform. Actually, here at CMPD, we talk about responsible reform. What I'm not going to do ever is throw the baby out with the bathwater. Not going to turn my back on the history and tradition of this organization, which is a very good organization. We're not perfect by any stretch. And we're also a learning agency, just like I talked about, because we believe in community policing. Community policing. The community has to allow us to police in the way that they expect us to. There's no other way to do it. A big conversation piece was around de-escalation. This is the first time we've actually defined that in our policy, with a lot of feedback, and it matters. I said, and a lot of people from CRB looked at me like I was crazy. I said, our goal in every encounter, every armed encounter, is de-escalation. And some of you in the media are, Chief, are you saying that is your goal in every one of them? Every single one of them. That is our goal. Out of about 8,000 armed encounters this year, all but 3, we managed to successfully de-escalate. I think that's huge. But it's not perfect, and for this city, it's not good enough. We continue the work. We continue that work. The other big thing we talked about is philosophically making sure that we talk about the preservation of life and this concept of guardianship versus being a warrior, being a guardian, not a warrior. And we've gone around and around and around about that. Semantics matter. My stance initially was we should all be about guardianship, and we stay there. I think it's deeper than that. We need to be guardians first and foremost. No doubt about it. That's the essence of why we exist, to protect those who might not be able to protect themselves. But my take on it is, and it's reflected in this policy, we need a warrior spirit as guardians. We need to go into danger when other people have the luxury of stepping away. You can't do that if all you think about is simple protection. We also have to have the passion to run into harm's way. And the only way to do that was that warrior spirit of true guardianship. Last thing I'll say is this. We're a learning agency. We're always trying to do better. This is an example of that. I named some of the community stakeholders and partners in this work, and I will say partners, because this has been about what we are as a city when we set our minds to improve. And to be honest with you, a lot of people thought this was going to be window dressing, and I'm going to be honest with you. I thought this was going to be an act of futility in a lot of ways as well. But when you have people who've been debating and critiquing, and they talk about some fundamental things that we know we value at our core, this was an opportunity to capture those, put them in writing, and have you challenge us to uphold them. I can tell you I'm confident that men and women in this organization will do just that, and I appreciate that work. I'm going to open it up to questions, but it's more than just the media. I want to talk to some of you as stakeholders, because you know the work we've done, especially the Citizens Review Board and my External Advisory Committee. You know the work, you know the journey. I want to know what's on your mind as we release this policy to the, somebody asked me, was it going to go out? I think it was Mr. Wright. Was it going to go out to the community? Yes, it is. It's going to go out to the community. It's going to go out globally. And if there's anybody in the universe who wants to read it, you get that opportunity on the website as well. What are your thoughts? What do I need to know? What are your questions?
For your officers, there is the discussion sometimes about.
You guys can relax. You can okay. Stand down if you want to. Go ahead, sir.
About responding, because a lot of them are well-intentioned, well-meaning, wanting to do their job the best they can, and maybe they don't want to get in a situation. Will any of this, or at least was it discussed, making sure that this doesn't cause any barriers to responding and getting involved in a situation where this policy would have to be applied?
Sure.
Brought on board.
The concern is always, as I said before, you just reform for reform's sake, just because you want to make change. And I'll tell you, this is not about me as a chief. I just happen to be the chief that is launching this, a culmination of a lot of work over decades, over many chiefs got us here, and the philosophy of community policing. But what that doesn't mean is that our people now have to pause, risk their lives at a higher rate than before we roll out this policy. It's not the intent. That is not reasonable. And everybody, we had conversations and heated debates verbal fights with gets that. That's not unreasonable. It does not also overcome the threat of an armed encounter. I'll say it one more time today. A gun is a game changer. A gun changes the dynamics of what we're encountering. What we're trying to do is get time, cover, distance, and opportunity to de-escalate. I keep saying, cooperate, communicate, de-escalate. We got to get there. This, though, does not keep our officers from responding to a threat that they perceive as an imminent threat to themselves or somebody else. That is the law. And all the debates we've had across all the stakeholders, we came back to that premise. It's reasonable, but there's a lot of work we want to do prior to something getting to that point. And we as an organization have been doing some of that work. Yes, sir, you in the back and then you, sir.
How heavily did the inquiries Franklin incident back in March inform this effort and serve as a catalyst for it?
Okay, here's what I'll tell you. It's offensive to all of the people who've been injured in the work here in Charlotte to talk about one case. I won't disrespect families by doing that. I'll tell you, my whole career, definitely my whole tenure as chief, every one of those cases has impacted where we are today. I can tell you, too, prior to me being chief as deputy chief, there were a lot of cases that impacted where we are today. So it's no one case, but every single one of them influenced why we're here today. Not going to critique anything that the officers did, but we always want to be better. And there's no one case that got us here. It's a culmination of everything we've been through. You, sir, and then I'll come back to you.
Well, my question is this. If these changes had been in effect sooner, would they have changed the outcome of any of the shootings that have happened in recent years?
Very reasonable question, and I can't say that they would. I can tell you this. The legal standard is what it is, and that's what is our foundation. The legal standard has withstood the test of time for a reason, because it is reasonable. It is reasonable. So I would say in all cases that have been justified before, probably would have been after this policy has been implemented. Again, we get confused about the imminence of a lethal threat right now with a firearm. That's a game changer. It's hard to say we're going to get time, distance, and cover when we're not allowed that opportunity. So that is our struggle. Very good question, though. Yes, sir.
I have 3 questions anyway.
Oh my goodness, we're not going to stay on you all 3 of them. We'll come back.
So, could you clarify for me what you mean as far as how this new use of force policy, and if someone has a gun, how this will, what's different?
Sure. The legal standard is not different as it relates to lethal, imminent force, imminent threat, a lethal, imminent threat. That standard has not changed at all. There's no policy that we have that's going to supersede the legal standard. What we're talking about is the philosophy that we have so that we have a community policing crisis response team. That is to prevent an issue with people who are in crisis proactively. We're trying to de-escalate even before they have a weapon. So we're doing work based on this policy and our philosophy and the feedback and the insight we've gotten from the public to improve in those areas. But the split-second decision that a reasonable officer has to make, this policy is not going to change that. That is the law, and that remains. No, let me move away from you because I promised you wouldn't get the dominant. Yes. Yes.
One of the things that CRB and both State Coalition also recommended was an officer's duty to intervene.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about why that wasn't possible?
Absolutely. Thank you. I knew you'd ask that question, and I appreciate it. True to who you are. Thank you. Listen, our struggle was this. We go in here making some assumptions, which is why I want to put this in writing, and I tell you, too, this is under construction because that is one of the things that I had to step back and we continue to have conversations about. Because the idea of putting in writing the duty to intervene assumes that we don't do that already. But the big point of it that we're still trying to work through and struggle with, which is why I say it's always under construction, is how do you give the community some comfort that that is a part of that overarching philosophy? And that's our struggle. What we did is enhance the neglect of duty. That's where we think that part of it remains and exists, right, in the neglect of duty. Because if somebody reasonable, and I think most of our majors who chair board, they're going to know if you as an officer had the opportunity to stop this from escalating, our expectation is you do so. And if you fail to, that's neglect of the duty that we expect of an officer here at CMPD. So it is encapsulated in one of our policies. It's not standalone because we're struggling to show you specifically what that's going to look like. So really it stays in the policy realm, not as much in the practical realm, and it's found within our neglect of duty policy.
This is going to be
Yes, sir.
slightly off
Don't
topic.
ask me a three-part question, or you're going to have to stand in line
It's
too.
not a three-part question.
Yes, sir.
You're retiring in not too long.
I'm retiring eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Oh, eventually, okay. The state treasurer has asked for information from the city of Charlotte about the city's policy,
Sure.
return to work. Has your retirement been discussed anymore, and has it been discussed how it may impact the city's policy on this for other officers?
I thought you'd try to make a connection there.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll tell you. This policy is written, is etched as intentional as we can, to make sure it builds on the foundation that we had. Whether I'm your chief or not, this policy will stand. Unless you as a community say, it's time to enhance and improve upon it. And I challenge you to consistently do that. So whoever your chief is, and right now it is me, that's what we build on, because, as I said before, I'm never going to disrespect the culture and tradition of an organization that got me to this place and got the city to this place. Enhancements will happen. Chiefs will come and go. But community policing has been here for decades. It survived many chiefs. And I think the essence of this policy will as well.
Did your retirement date change?
I don't see what that relationship is to the policy, but we'll come back to that too. Yes, sir.
Chief, I know you said not a specific
I'm sorry.
case.
No. Yes, sir.
I know you said not a specific case, but the publicity of Scott and Garrett and Franklin, those three, and the ability to have first-person footage for the community to see, that has to have played some type of acceleration in the community's interest in getting this done, and yours as well.
Sure. Read my lips. There's no one case. Every one of them has an impact. Some people in here know firsthand. Every one of them affects us deeply, and personally, me specifically. So all of them have an impact. I'm not going to disrespect any family by trying to highlight one in particular. Every one of them over the last 28 years has affected me personally and us as an organization. Thus, our opportunity now to formulate that into a policy that explains to the public how serious we take the sanctity of life. So every one of the cases, you can name all of them if you will. You've only named a couple, and I'm being honest with you, that's offensive to me. I'm not going to choose anybody's kid over someone else's, but every family has had a tragic loss. We're always trying to do better and prevent those things, thus the work we do proactively, even in areas that are beyond policing. Yes, sir. I got your second question?
You got me.
It was a no, and it's the same in English and Spanish.
You got it.
Yes. Back to you.
Thank you, Chief. Is there any active retraining that needs to happen with these changes that are in?
Very good question. Love it. Oh, man. Gold star. Training's always ongoing. I just went through TAC training, version 8, 9, 10. We don't know, but it happens every year. And everything that we do, such as this, there's a video that's attached that's going to go on their learning plan. And then over the next course of the year, any enhancements based on the policy will be part of the training. That's always ongoing. I'm sorry? Tactical training. Yes. TAC for short. I'm a cop. I'm sorry. You got one more coming.
How much of this policy was anything carried over from the previous policy?
Sure.
That was use of force prior, and I guess how much of this is different?
Let me tell you that I think that's a deeper conversation and a deeper story that Deputy Chief Patterson can walk you through, because that was a big change for me. I knew people would want to see the difference. I can't explain that to you here, but we can show you in more depth. In the back, and then you, sir.
Chief, thanks for this. Our last piece, before maybe you retired, It's still our holster monitor policy, and the main issue's been the Axon equipment,
Yes.
technology time up. Chief, city manager said to check back at the end of the year.
And what is that again? One more time for what?
So the city manager said to check back near the end of the year to see if that technology was going to be able to match up.
I'm not quite understanding.
So the holster monitor.
Oh, right, I'm with you, yes.
The city's equipment had
Yes.
an issue.
Yes.
Axon didn't want to cover it.
Correct.
She said to ask, the city manager said to ask in the third quarter, and
Yep.
maybe y'all need to figure something.
He would be the one to ask, but my understanding is we're still not quite there. And the reason we have, we implemented that, by the way, we weren't told, you didn't start that one. That's one that you didn't start. Right, I know, but what I'm saying, I'm with you. What I'm saying is the point of it is it gives you more opportunity to capture everyone. But what we have done under the leadership of Captain Kurt Voorhees, Chief, I demoted you twice, Deputy Chief Voorhees, Kurt Voorhees is, we automatically capture all those now in a database for us. It is self-report, so it's not automatic, which is what we want. But that technology doesn't exist the way we can use it yet. It's my last.
You can help me ask city manager for follow-up. It's on your-
They don't ask anybody tough questions with me, but good luck with that. Who else? Who else? Yes, sir. I'm sorry. That's right. I promised you.
Chief, this question, and with the defining of the de-escalation, is that something you can just kind of share with us? I know this policy is geared together with that, but then there's a relationship between resistance and de-escalation. With
Yes.
the definition of
Yes.
de-escalation, are the officers being told on what? I know you referenced even in other meetings we've had legals tendered.
Yes, sir.
How much is going into defining what actual resistance is? Am I resisting if I just happen to have a gun but it's not drawn?
Sure.
Or anything? Is that considered? Can someone misinterpret that and say, well, that's resistance, and I'm
Sure.
responding to that?
Good
Just want to get a
question.
little more clarity on resistance as well as escalation.
Sure. What I can tell you is this. The basis of resistance is non-compliance, right? So, and people keep going back to this example. I just got a gun. It's right to carry state. It is. You can actually go CCW if you get a permit, right? So all of those things are legal. But to be non-compliant with the legal direction of an officer is where resistance begins. That's the threshold. So armed or not, if you're directed because there's a lawful detention to do something, the law says you must do it. Make sense? So whether or not you're armed, if you're failing to obey a lawful command, that is the beginning of resistance by definition. So what I can tell you is the legal standard was the basis, but what we're talking about philosophically and in the training and in programs that we have like CPCRT, we're trying to proactively go out and help people who are in crisis, who might have the opportunity to get in a situation that escalates prior to us ever having that escalation in a certain situation. We're proactively going out doing thousands of visits with people that we know have demonstrated that there's some issues, right, that are beyond our control, but we're connecting with people. And that's the other part that what I can't emphasize enough from conversations with you, that effort to connect so that you have a basis of understanding and rapport prior to anything going wrong. We're doing a lot more work there. And the training replicates that. Thus the investment by council and the mayor and city manager at the city manager's request to give us more money to train more people in CIT so that we can have even more officers proactively preventing these negative outcomes. Somebody else.
Policy compared to other major cities, and does every city have different issues they have to deal with?
Yes, they do have different issues. Yes, there's some similarities. The basic foundation based on law is pretty consistent. And we always look at what other people are doing, but we want to make sure it works for us in Charlotte. I can tell you, external advisory, CRB, NAACP, Safe Coalition NC might not be everywhere, but that's why we have to tailor our policy to Charlotte. Charlotte is where we're committed. A couple more. Anything else? Yes.
Chief, I would like to thank you for inviting the Citizens Review Board to contribute to this policy. I think we really appreciate that. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I would clap for you, but they're going to think I'm being self-serving. What I'll tell you is this: I appreciate the work, and as you can attest, and I hope you guys will do some one-offs with some of the members here, CRB, good minister. Have that conversation because they can tell you better than I can. This has not been a rubber stamp. I have plenty of battle scars based on what we've gone through to get us here, and we're not done yet. But I appreciate your work more than you know. I'll take that. You're welcome. But really, I thank you more so than you might realize. Last question, and I'm sure it's going to be downhill from that one, but go ahead, sir.
No. Just what if you had a wish list of going from here, what would you like to take this? What's the next step, I guess? Past this, what we have here.
Sure. I think one piece is making sure that this is the process that we use consistently in the future, that we be true to community policing. There's an opportunity for insight and perspective from the community as we improve this policy. I'll tell you, it's not perfect. It's not where we want it for the next 20 years, but I think it's a very good first step. I just want to make sure we, as part of our culture moving forward, can use this same type of process because I think it's been good for us as a city. All right, any other questions before? Yes, sir.
Chief, real quick, we're looking at social media. Can you open it up some for those who had some questions about whether or not de-escalation has always been part of the policy?
Sure.
This is just putting parameters around it?
By definition, this is the first time we've actually taken the time to define it, but it's always been inherent in the policy, right? We talk about the use of force and the levels of control that we implement. By the way, we're even changing the title from use of force to response to resistance, because legally, we cannot arbitrarily use force and initiate an escalation anyway. It's illegal. So what we're talking about here is a part of our training has always been we're trying to get time, distance, and cover so we can slow things down. The term now has become de-escalate, and that's the term that everybody understands. It has been a part of how we do business. This is the first time, though, we've been challenged to articulate that. So it's in writing, and we have to stand by it, and the community can hold us accountable to it.
Jeff, in terms of that articulation that you just mentioned, are you in a position to be able to say that this is, well, it's a tricky thing to compare one department to another, but does this, do you think, put CMPD in a certain position compared to other big city police departments in the United States as far as crafting a de-escalation and use of force policy is detailed above and beyond the legal standard?
Here's what I'll say to that. I'll never compare us because I'm very biased there. I think we're quite good in a lot of things. But what I will tell you is we're challenging other agencies, and some of them have already done so, to really rethink how you construct a policy. And back to the other question, we challenge you to use the community and that insight and perspective in doing so. A lot of times we'll create the policy, and ultimately, let's be honest, it's my policy as a chief now. I could have been in the back room and came out and say, deal with it. I don't think that's the process the community, this city, would tolerate, and we encourage other cities to follow suit.
As we've seen time and time again, when officers get into a situation where they need to implement this policy on the spot, emotions take hold, mistakes are made. As this policy is introduced, is there also an element of training the officers' emotions, so to speak, their poise, to follow this policy and have it be successful?
Okay. We are all human, right? I can't train that out of you. But what we are doing, and I love the work that we're doing in educating you around bias, implicit bias, educating you on the need to be able to see past differences and do your job as a professional. All of that is ongoing training already. This doesn't change that. We will continue that. But if you're asking me, are we going to need to train people to not be human, not have emotion? No, I don't think that's what we want in our police. I think the opposite is what I'm hearing. They want more compassion, more empathy, and so this policy, I think, embodies some of that. philosophically, we're putting it out there for everybody to see that we're saying sanctity of life is paramount. So I don't think there's any training that we're trying to change our people to be anything but more compassionate, and that's been ongoing for quite some time. Yes, ma'am.
So, thank you for allowing us to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Press conference, but my question is how soon and how quick it's going to be for every CMPD cop to get this information as well as the community, because we don't want anyone coming to our community when something minor is going on and they shoot and ask questions later. So
Sure.
it's how soon this is going to be out for everybody and the different organizations to have this.
Yes, ma'am. It's going out as we speak. It's going to be posted when? Today?
Yes, sir.
By, okay. I was going to say close the business. Actually, by 11. Right. But to your point, don't think I'm making a joke of it. I get where you're coming from. That's why we've done it. And that's why, CRB, Safe Coalition, and NAACP, External Advisory Council, I really, really am humbled by your willingness to engage and to tolerate me for the last few months that we've been really, really hammering home the need to do this. All right, I'll take one more. Yes, sir.
Yes, Chief.
I knew you wouldn't disappoint. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. Were there any key measures identified so that you can track how change has occurred from prior to this implementation to after the implementation?
I don't know that there are going to be any measurable, specific empirical data that I can refer to, but I'll tell you this, and I'll refer you back to what I said before, 8,000 armed encounters. 8,000 armed encounters, and we de-escalated almost all of them. So that's the metric by which I hold our people towards when we look at, are you trying to achieve the goal of maintaining the sanctity of human life? Because I think that data speaks for itself. And I'm going to tell you this policy isn't when we got better. We've been trying to improve all along. This policy, though, kind of raises that expectation. And I have every confidence our people are going to achieve it. All right, we can go on for days, and I know you guys want more. I know you have other questions that are not related to response to resistance. However, I think it's time for you to talk to some of the people who really gave us the insight and perspective that we hadn't had, I think, in the past. So I challenge you to talk to some other people in the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Make sure that you guys, we have two handouts for you. We do have a one-page overview of the response to resistance as well as a copy of the policy, and we encourage you to speak with community members that have all turned out. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it.